Hello, everyone. Welcome to the ATeam show with RC. How are we all doing? Hi, RC. How's it going?
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. You doing good?
Oh yeah, doing good. Just, getting from point A to point B
That's, that's everyday life, right?
every
I want
day,
to start
every
off
day.
by saying this. UFL had a huge announcement this week, which is
They did.
great. There will be a season 2025. Yes, the season tickets will go on sale October 15th. So be on the lookout for that. You can go to ufl.com/tickets to get your tickets, which is great, and we're really looking forward to it too. So yeah, and so the season will also kick off March 28th. Also, and they're adding Friday night games, which is
I
great
love
too.
that. I love Friday night football.
That's right. That's right. So tonight is a special night, everyone, because as you all know, as women, hosts of this show, we love the fact that women are playing football, right, RC? We think it's
Exactly,
great.
yes.
Yeah, we think it's great. Tonight we have the pleasure of having on two very big faces of the Minnesota Vixens. Yes, we have Coach Lewis, which I have to say this very cool things about her. Okay, she's the MVP, honorable mention in 2018. The WFA All American player in 2018 and 2019, and worked with tight ends and fullbacks and did analytics for the Baltimore Ravens. Hello.
Awesome. That's amazing.
Very impressive. I must say that. And we have the quarterback also, who is number 10, Erin Kelley, which is amazing, and was the 2022 Offensive Player of the Year.
I read that.
Another very impressive thing. So, without further ado, everyone, we have Coach Lewis and Erin Kelley. Hello.
Yay.
Welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for
Hello.
having us.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. So, RC, do you want me to kick off the questions or do you want to
Yep,
start?
go ahead.
Okay, so Erin, I have a question for you. How would your teammates best describe you?
Oh man. I think they would best describe me as more of like a leader by what I do more than what I like speak. I definitely lead more on the field. I like to show them what I got out there and make sure that they're improving and growing to their full potential on the field. I think as a quarterback, that's a big thing to see your players improve, and then it allows you to improve, and then overall the team, specifically for me, offense, then we end up growing together.
That's awesome. And coach, how would you elevate your own performance and decision making in a game? What all goes
For
into
me,
that?
yeah, a lot goes into it. We do a lot of watching film and scouting other teams to see if there's any weaknesses that we can exploit. There's a saying in football, like just attack the weakest link. So we try to do that in our game planning if possible. And then the rest is like scout our own team. Where are our strengths? Where can we take the most advantage of how our own team is looking, how our own players, like putting our players in positions to be successful. And that is anywhere on the ball, offense, defense, special teams, going into each week, we make these decisions.
Yeah, that's great. And I
Nice.
want to add this too, real quick. You guys have tryout dates. You register online as well for September 28th and October 5th. Yes, at
That's correct.
9 a.m. So go out and try out for this. It's so cool what you guys do. It's very, very, very impressive. So I have to say that, and we'll say this again when tryouts are. But go ahead, RC.
So Amanda had asked me how am I doing, and I was like, I'm just gonna trying to get from A to B. So to give us a little bit of history, where did your football start? And that's your A, and where are you now? And what happened in between for both of you?
I'll take it first. So
Sure.
I've actually played football when I was a kid. I'm one of the few people that played tackle football as a young girl. It's becoming more popular these days.
Yes, it
When I was
is.
when I was a kid, it was pretty rare. We didn't have any in our, at least where I'm from in rural Minnesota. We didn't have any near us that were playing. Um, and that started even younger, recess with the boys. Like I just love football. Don't know where it came from. dad doesn't play football. My brother didn't play football. So it's just something I've loved from a young age, but massive Vikings fan.
What?
So, and they're after 2-0 starts, so we're pretty happy with them so far this season. But for me, there wasn't many more opportunities for girls playing football. So I went to college and played basketball and ran track. And then after graduating, I was looking for team sport. I had tried some triathlons, like individual type sports, and it just didn't do it for me. I love a team. Competing on the field together, working towards a common goal is huge for me. So I found the Minnesota Vixen, tried out, played for a few years, had some injuries. And in 2020, I switched to the coaching side. So I worked with wide receivers for 3 years, worked with the Baltimore Ravens during a fellowship during training camp in 2022, which was an amazing experience. And then last year got the opportunity to become the head coach and offensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vixen, and just finishing up my first season at the helm, and learned a lot about myself, learned a lot about the team, and I can't wait for round 2.
That's great.
Yeah, for me, didn't play football growing up. My dad wanted me to. We played catch in the driveway in the yard. So he said, "Mom, can she play quarterback?" And she was like, "No, absolutely not." He's like, "Okay." So we went back outside. So he taught me how to punt. He's like, "Okay, now you know how to punt." "Mom, can she go punt football?" "No way." "All right, cool. I'll just teach her how to throw harder. We'll play softball." So did that growing up. Of course, did the whole powder puff thing. Also went to college and played basketball. Got out. Was also searching for a team sport. Did running, triathlons. Funny enough, I played softball higher level then for a while. And then, I knew of the Vixen. I had lived in St. Louis, and there's a team down there as well. So when I came up here, I gave it a few years. I had a few injuries in my past, didn't think I could do it. And then I was like, you know what? It is what it is. So came in 2022 and haven't looked back.
That's
Now,
great.
did I read correctly that you're from Pontiac, Illinois?
I am, yes.
Okay, I grew up in Chicago. So when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, we already have a connection.
Yep, good old Pontiac.
Well, we
Not
have a
that many people
connection
know
too.
about it, but I mean, I used to travel a lot with my family all through Illinois. So, and I say Illinois, not Illinois, because you're not from like Illinois when you say Illinois. So there, Anyway.
Well,
That's
and
great.
Coach, we have a big connection too, because I am a huge Minnesota Viking fan. Okay, everyone can talk what they want to about Sam Darnold, but we're still 2-0. I don't care.
There you go.
He's getting a chance, and we love to see, players get a second chance.
That's right. That's right. So I want to ask both of you, win or lose, how do you stay motivated during a game when it's up and when it's down?
Well, I do have to say this. When you first asked the question about what Erin's teammates think about her, I actually thought of a quote from when we picked captains this last year. And one of the descriptions for one of her teammates, she was selected as a captain, was her never say never attitude. So I think, honestly, like, that's huge for us during a game, is like, no matter if you're winning or losing, like, just continue to do the best that you can. And like, we always have a chance if we're working together. So that's she can talk for herself, but like, she definitely does that. And I think from a coaching perspective, for me as well, is like, no matter the outcome of any particular play, is like, what can we learn from it, and how can we just keep getting better? Because none of us are at the top of our game, if we're being honest. Like, we're all trying to learn and get better. I'm trying to learn and get better. So every play, every game, every rep is a chance for us to just keep getting better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll piggyback on it. Like she was saying, at the end of the day, we're all athletes. We all want to go out there and show what we're capable of, regardless if it's 40-0 and we're the ones down, or if we're the ones up. We want to show what we have and keep growing the sport as a whole. So if you keep grinding and showing what we got, regardless of it, inside that you worked your hardest, and going home at the end of the day, that's all that comes home with you. The win's nice, but if you're like, I took the day off today and you lost, like, that's going to hit harder. But yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you've been following our podcast, but What we're trying to do is really promote women in sports and especially women in football. So I have a daughter who studied sports management and she's had to struggle because it's a very male dominated sport. And so I started meeting and networking with people. And I found out that a lot of coaches really feel for some of these athletes, female athletes who love the sport of football. But if they want to go to college, like many of the males who want to go to college playing football, they don't have the same opportunities, right? So either A, they have to change their sport, and I think Coach, you had mentioned that you had changed and kind of gone to like basketball or a different sport, and that really irks me. Like, why do we have to change, right? And so I started doing some research, and to make a long story short, there's a couple of coaches that we started a combine, and they started a combine here in Arlington, Texas. And we started inviting different universities that would offer flag football for females. And it started off with 3 universities for it. So now we're up to 12 universities that are offering scholarships for female flag football. And now I believe it's also in the Olympics. And so this is why are we doing what we're doing, right? Because we don't have enough people who I think have heard about our struggle, and some people might think, oh, what's the big deal? Free education is a big deal. Passion is a big deal. Being an athlete and wanting to do your best is a big deal. And that's why we do what we do. And so it's an honor to really have both of you on so we can start spreading the word. And so there's 3 of us on here. Unfortunately, our other sister isn't here today, and we're wishing her well. But we all are taking like 4 teams from the Women's Football League, and we're trying to cover them. So last week I covered the DC Divas, and so this week we're covering you. And a couple weeks before we had the Slam. And so I know it's like, why do you want to interview us? This is why. This is our purpose, and we're trying to get the word out, and we're trying to support you any way we can. And so I just want to say that part of it, and we really do appreciate you coming on and helping us to help you spread the word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we appreciate that.
I don't think there's a question in there, but what would you want to tell young female athletes who want to continue in your footsteps?
I mean, the biggest thing is having that passion. So, and I think now there are more opportunities than ever. You have to seek them out. You still have to seek them out. But there's NAIA flag opportunities. Flag is becoming much more popular, which is huge for the women's game. The one thing about flag that is tough is it doesn't is not as inclusive of all body types as tackle football. That's one thing I love about tackle football is you need big, small, fast, strong. Like you need every body type to play the sport. And I think that's an amazing component of tackle football. But I mean, I think the biggest thing is follow your passion and make connections, because there are opportunities out there. You often need to seek them. But there's a lot more people in your court now.
Okay.
And it's going to keep growing.
So this is for both of you. How do you plan to keep the morale and confidence of the players up in a difficult game?
I think it's just reminding them of who we are. At the end of the day, we're the Minnesota Vixen. We're not whoever we're playing. You guys mentioned DC Divas, the St. Louis Slam. We're not them. And oftentimes in a hard situation, people are like, but they're doing this, but they're doing that. It's like, yeah, but we can do this. Just reminding them of what we've done in the past and who we truly are, and bringing that back out to the field and, yeah, owning it.
Yeah, I mean, belief is a powerful thing. If you believe in yourselves and you have other people that believe in you, you can do more than you even think you can do.
Absolutely. Never say never.
Never say never.
Like that.
Love it.
So for both of you, talk about and describe your best game. It may or may not be the same game, but I want you to talk about a game that you did and that you performed to your best ability, and that's like the greatest moment.
Oh man,
this is
a really tough question.
My game, actually, the one that came to my mind was actually this last season, and unfortunately we lost. But it was our first game this year against St. Louis Slam. We ended up losing I think it was 41-40.
Yeah, by one. Yep.
By 1 point.
Oh,
But for me, I mean, it was my first game. I really didn't know what to expect. I've actually never called a game before. So there's a lot of definitely nervous energy going into that game. But as soon as the game started, it was like a complete calmness like washed over me, and things just made sense. We had some struggles initially. We went 3 and out right away. We had our punt blocked. Like, it was a really rough start. But we just kept working. We were able to we had put in a lot of new plays, and we were able to run those and execute those really well. I think we were down by 2 scores, and we had to make decisions of, do I punt on 3rd down with 5 minutes, or on 4th down with 5 minutes left, or do we go for it? We punted, and we trusted our defense. And then we had to orchestrate a 2-minute drive to score, because we were losing by 7 points.
Yeah.
And we ended up going down and scoring, and then we win for 2. And unfortunately, we didn't get it. But it was still like an amazing game, an amazing first game, one I'll never forget, from a coaching perspective, and also like the number of players that stepped up in that game. It was just like so much fun to watch and be a part of.
It is funny she says that, because when you guys said it, that literally was the first game that came to my mind. There's plenty more games where we blew out people or it was a good game, but that game was so different because of the belief that people had, and it was against the St. Louis Slam, and that's a team that, man, they're our arch rival. We haven't beaten them in a while. We beat them in 2022 once, and coming into that game with a brand new head coach, I mean, all of our defensive coaching staff, or majority of it, brand new, and to come out there and put up that kind of score, 41-40, was unbelievable. The wide receivers, the O-line did phenomenal that game, everything that they did, and then that just allowed me to honestly have fun, and allowed her to grow as a coach, and kind of helped us figure out what works, and who the Vixen are this specific year, I should say. Yeah, we came up 1 point short, but that was probably our hardest fought game that I've seen us play in a very, very long time.
Coach, what goes through your head with having to make those decisions when the game is that tight, and having to make those kind of game decisions, and you got your quarterback looking at you right now like, you better watch what you say? What do you do? I mean, how did both of you work together in those types of situations?
I mean, it honestly comes down to believing in each other, to be honest. Like, we have a really strong relationship. I think quarterback and offensive coordinator is maybe the most important relationship in all of sport, to trust each other and be able to communicate with each other, to know what you feel comfortable running, what you believe that we can run. So honestly, in those moments, it's honestly, I'm going to take a step back. It's like when you take a test and you just like need to know the answer. Like, you've already studied, you know, everything that you possibly could know, and now you just have to answer the question. Like, that's a little bit of what it's like. We've already done all the practicing. We've repped these plays. We've done situations in practice. We're prepared for the moment. Here are some options of plays that we want to run in the situation. Let's go for it. And then you just believe. I mean, we're gonna do our best to make a play. If we don't make the play, like, we put our best on the field, and that's really all you can ask for.
Right. And Erin, how do you feel? Like, you know, she's been a coach now with you for a year, yeah?
Yep.
So what's that like, in entrusting in her that, you know, going through a hard situation like that in a game?
Yeah, like she talked about, our relationship is pretty strong. So we've gone through all that in practice. We've gone through hard times, the best times, everything. So knowing that in the moment, like, she's got me, just kind of roll with it at that point. I mean, you can say no, but that's not going to go over well. And there's times when I do question. I'm like, "Are you sure?" But honestly, she'll ask like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Well, because of X, Y, and Z." And then we'll talk through it, which I think makes our bond when it comes to offensive coordinator and QB better than a lot. Because oftentimes some coordinators are just going to say, "No, it's my way or the highway."
Absolutely.
And Connor definitely does not do that. Allows me to have a little bit of a say, but in the end of the day, I trust her with whatever she calls.
Oh, that's great.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, I know, Coach, you had said earlier that there was like different body types of different athletes. talk a little bit about the diversity, talk about the average age of the players, things like that.
Yeah, so I'd say our average age this past season is probably like mid to late 20s. We did have a rookie this year that was actually 55,
Wow.
which I had no idea about at tryouts. We don't have their age at tryouts. Their age shouldn't matter if you can perform on the football field. That's all that matters. And she had a solid year this year for us mostly on special teams. But and we had a 19-year-old, so that was our age range.
Oh, wow.
From this past season, and for body types, I'll talk about this all day. Like, I love how football is so inclusive of all body types. We get a player that came in that was like 5 foot, 100 pounds. And then we also had players that are come in that are 6'1" or 6 foot, 250, whatever it might be. And we need all of them. Like, that's the only way football works, is if you have this range of body types. A lot of our players played high level sports in college. That's a really common theme. And that really helps too in like their work ethic. If you've played a college sport, you often have this, hard work at practice, knowing that you have to put in time outside of practice. We only practice 3 days a week, so you need to be putting in extra time to work on football, whether it's skills, lifting, conditioning, whatever it might be. So that's huge for us. It's not a pre-requirement. We have plenty of people who aren't or did not play college athletics that still are major contributors on our team. I think that's the main space. And then if you talk about occupations, it's all over the board. If you think of an occupation, we probably have it on our team.
Correct.
That's awesome. And everyone out there that wants to go on and register, you have to be 18 and up to register. But I must say, 55, that is impressive.
She did pretty awesome.
Yeah,
that is impressive.
Mm-hmm.
I would never have guessed that at tryouts. Like, she moved very well. And it was fun. It's fun to have people on the team from these different backgrounds, because that makes us stronger too.
Yeah.
Right.
And honestly, like, for me as a coach, I get to learn from my players as well. Mm-hmm. And like, she was a high school cross country coach, so I'd be able to maybe talk to her about how she might be doing something. I know she took our team motto and used that for her team this year as well, so we could bounce ideas off each other, which is also nice.
It is a good motto, I must say. So, who have been the most influential coaches or mentors that you both have had in your lives that has gotten you to where you are today?
I can say mine. My first one is my high school basketball coach my senior year. She came in hot. She was one that like yells and stomps her heel and does all that crazy stuff. But what she always told me was, when I stop yelling is the time that I stop caring. So in my head, I heard, okay, just keep them yelling, keep them working hard, keep them talking to me. The time they stop is when they stop caring. And she was probably the hardest coach on me that I've ever had. But she taught me grit. She taught me what it's like to really want something. And when you really want something, you have to prove it, and you have to grow, and you have to work hard on it. So she definitely was my most influential coach.
That's awesome.
That's a tough question. Honestly, I'm trying to put you on the spot. Think through all my coaches. I've had some really great coaches. I would say the two that come to mind. The coach I worked with in Baltimore, Coach Goodsey, George Goodsey. He actually at one point was the offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans. And with the Baltimore Ravens, he was working with the tight ends, and he was just a flowing monologue of knowledge, and always sharing as much as he could with me, and had high expectations for me as a coach. And even to this day, we'll text, or maybe I'll run something by him. So he's definitely huge and influential in where I am right now. And then also, I'd say my college basketball coach. I was a walk-on, and it took me a year or so to maybe gain his trust, but that taught me a lot of just grit and believing in myself. And then as soon as I gained that trust, the amount of faith he put in me and the life lessons he taught me were huge.
That's great.
Nice. So my question is a little bit kind of two parts. I want you to talk about, each of you to talk about the support you get from your family and the support you get from the fans.
Okay.
That's massive. Yeah.
Yeah, massive. My family is obsessed. They love every second of it. They do get nervous about me getting hurt. I think that's in the back of everybody's mind. But no, I mean, my mom, dad, and brother, they live in Pontiac still, Illinois. So from here, it's about 7 hours, but they always try to make one home game, one away game. And then we play in St. Louis. That's not too far down the road. So they're always there. And my wife's awesome. She tries to come in as many games as she can. She's one of the big cheerleaders in the stands, and she rocks it. And the fans are just unbelievable. The people who know the Vixen are crazy supportive, and they want to do everything they can to tell everybody, like, this is women's sports, blah, blah, blah. If I'm out somewhere and somebody knows me, they'll be like, this is the quarterback of the Vixen. I'm like, nobody knows who we are out here, but they're like, I don't care. I want to tell everybody. I'm like, all right, you do that.
Yeah.
But it is fun because there are becoming more fans and more fans know about it. So you do go out and you do have people that recognize, which is awesome to see. I didn't really have that until this year. So that definitely shows the sport's growing. But yeah, our fans are amazing.
Yeah, I'll say, like, we'll often go to away games and we'll have more fans than the home team. That's not true for every game. I want to say there's, especially the two teams that you've had on here, they had quite good home fan bases, DC and the Slam. But our family, my family has, like, my parents throughout my whole football journey, even when they didn't want me to be playing, were supportive. My dad always says, make the decisions that you need to in your life and we'll support them. So I think that's huge for my dad. And then my partner, who's actually a former player, knows how much time and commitment it takes. And it takes even more time and commitment as a coach, especially if you want to maintain your physical fitness as well, because you no longer get to go to practice and use those 2 hours as your training session. So she knows how much time it takes to be a part of this team, and have that support. It really can't be done without. Like they say in sports, like the coaches' partners, like it's a full-time job for them too. And it is, like, during season, help with stuff at home, because I'm working a full-time job and coaching, which is another full-time job.
Wow, that's a lot.
So I want to ask both of you, what does it feel like to you internally to play a sport that you love and be a woman doing it? Like, what is it that drives you to do what you're doing? Because you know how the whole status of men play football. That's obviously not the case. Women are great at playing the sport as well. So what is it that drives you to want to do so well in the game of football as a woman?
I don't know. For me, I think it's mostly just being an athlete. Like, regardless of gender, is like, athletes are passionate about their sport. And honestly, like, we don't get paid to do this, whether it's playing or most coaches are volunteer as well. Like, it is all just for the love of the game, but it's the same drive.
It's crazy to me. Let me just say that, crazy.
Yeah. Y'all deserve to get paid, just saying.
We would take some money, but it's, we play it for the love of the game. And I think that's, I mean, EK can talk about it, but that's a lot of players come from not being able to play as a kid and now as an adult getting this opportunity.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing that the world thinks when they hear women's tackle football is, do you guys even hit? Like, do you even do any of that? Or you get the lingerie league.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. I'm like, does that even exist anymore? I don't even think so.
I think somewhere that you have it.
I will say, not to take away from the women playing their lingerie league. I have total respect for players in that league. I mean, they don't really get to wear much pads and they still lay the boom. So much respect. I just wish there were more opportunities in full pads football.
Yeah. Yep. So it's fun to show them, like, this is actually how it is. And they're like, oh my gosh, like, how do I come to a game? How do I see this? Can I look something up online? So it is fun to get the people who have never been a part of it, and then show them and then bring them into the world as well. I think that's part of what drives me. But yeah, also showing people, regardless of size, shape, color, anything, that there's a spot for you. And we'll take you. Obviously you have to try out, but that there's still a spot for you regardless. Doesn't matter the size and everything like that. So,
well, kind of going back to money, I was on the website and I saw that there was something that I hadn't seen before, that you can click on the picture of the on someone who's on the roster, an athlete, player, and then you could, I think the term was sponsor or adopt. Is that right? Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I had not seen that before.
Okay. Yeah. So each player has what we call adopt a Vixen. So people can go on their friends, family, random people, and they can, quote unquote, adopt you. So they can put money towards your, whatever the case it might be. Basically, if they adopt you, all the money that goes into there has to go towards something football. So it can go towards travel. It can go towards your dues for the team that year. It can go, I mean, those are mainly equipment. Yep. Equipment, everything like that. So yeah, you can do that. You can also get sponsorships through businesses. That's a big way a lot of people on the team make up for all of that. But yeah, adopting a Vixen is a great way for people to be able to support people that they know, knowing we don't get paid, and also way for people to make money to kind of reimburse themselves for a lot of the money that we spend.
So you might have to think about this one. So describe a time when a player isn't showing their full potential and that you know that they have, and what would you say to them?
This has happened a lot.
This is, I don't know who you're thinking of, but for me personally, there was a time this year during a game, and it was on our sideline, so it was right in front of me. Our offense was on the field. And one of our receivers missed the block twice, and they're usually a really good blocker. And they are also a really hard worker, really good player. And I just yelled her name, and I was like, "You are better than that." And in a way of I believe in you, you can do better. Let's get these next reps. And she did. And it was just stuck out in my brain. That was one thing that as a coach, I'm like, what am I going to say to someone in one of these situations? And it just came out, and it made sense. And it worked for her. I think any type of play, every player needs something a little bit different. Mm-hmm. That's the thing, is I knew she would respond well to that. Other players, you need to go and have a sit down conversation with. What's going on? Is it something in your personal life? Is it something with football? You're not playing how you usually are. Let's have that kind of discussion. It might work out that way for a particular player. Some players just need a little fire put under their butts, and then they can go out there and do better. So it kind of depends on the player, but that moment sticks out to me in terms of a specific something that was said to a player.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you remember the times when you have to say those things. I think, just kind of bouncing off of her, and then I have a specific moment, but part of us on the Vixen specifically, and I can only speak for offense, obviously I see defense as well, but we get to know each other so well. You do so many reps, you hang out with each other, and you do all sorts of things together. You get to know each individual and how they're going to react in a certain situation. So some people, don't say a word to them, or else they're going to explode way more than they already have, and you just got to let them sort through their thoughts. They might walk away for a second, they'll come back, and they're going to be good. Other people, I know a specific time in my O-line, one person on my O-line, they had a few bad plays in a row, were just getting feisty out on the field, even push the other team and stuff like that. And what they needed is to be reminded of who they are. How many times have you done this before? How many times have you come out on top? You're an All-American, what you're doing. All we have to do is wipe that and get back to it. But it, like she said, it completely depends on the player and how they're going to react and respond to that situation.
Coach, what works for Erin?
Honestly, I don't usually have to say much to her. But I think we just talk. for us, it's just one-on-one conversation. What are you seeing? If she's frustrated with something, why is that the case? What can we fix? I think that's really all it is, because she's a lot like me, and like she'll be harder on herself than anyone else will. So I don't need to take that approach. If it was maybe not the best play, it's more of just the discussion. How can we keep improving? What's going on? And then she knows I believe in her, so I just have to keep showing that with essentially with the play calls. Like the play calls speak for themselves. If you're not going to call a pass play if you're not trusting your quarterback.
Yeah.
Erin, what works for Coach?
She
said,
"Huh."
I mean, like she said, we're kind of the same as far as like level-headedness. Connor's very level-headed when it comes to certain things, and she'll get frustrated just knowing the why. Oftentimes, like, why did this happen? Explain. Let's talk through this. Like, this is what I saw. What did you see? But usually, you don't have to say too much. And so she is kind of one that might need to just take a step away for a second and come back, and she's good.
Love that.
Well, I noticed on the website, whoever is doing your website is doing a wonderful job marketing. And I looked at the merchandise, and who does those shoes? I love them. The leggings, the onesies for the babies. I mean, there was not one thing I was like, oh my God, I got to get that. Oh my God, I can get that for my grandbaby. Oh my God. I mean, there was something for everybody. So talk a little bit about that, because marketing is such a big influence for your team and probably for the league.
Yeah, I will have to say that I try to keep my hands out of the marketing area. That's mostly done by our owners, Laura and James Brown. And they took over the team, I believe, in 2014. And the amount that the team has grown since that time is huge. They've done such a tremendous job. And that goes down to marketing. It goes down to coach selection. It goes down to, getting players to tryouts, where we actually have tryouts, and we have to cut people because so many people try out for our team.
Really?
Oh yeah.
We usually get like 100 to 150, 200 new athletes each year, and then
that's great.
So we do, which is awesome. I mean, we also have there's another team in Minnesota, the Minnesota Minx, that's more of a developmental team. They're like a D3 team. So there are lots of opportunities for women in football in Minnesota. But yeah, so our marketing, I keep my hands out of, they keep their hands out of my thing. We keep a nice separation. So which I think is important for a team to work. I will say that the shoes our owner Laura designed last year, and they are really cool.
Really cool. Really cool.
I want to get to know both of you a little bit, like all football aside, okay? So what do you ladies like to do on your off time when you're not playing, when you could do anything? What do you like doing?
Well, I just play more sports.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too.
We're actually at a softball game right now. We played at 6, and we're going to play at 8 again. So we're in between our softball.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah. In the off season, we can pick up a few more things. So, and then I also play Australian rules football, which is a unique sport. If you've never seen it, just Google it and try to understand what's going on. It's very unique sport. And then I also just love reading. That's probably like my really chill time. What I do with my chill time.
Yeah, basically the same. I play more sports, softball, golf. We like to play pickleball. A lot of different things. Hang out with my wife and my dogs. We like to chill in the backyard. We're always going to different restaurants and breweries and stuff like that together. Hang out with friends. We have a lot of them. Finding out. We have a lot of weddings this year. Honestly, just kind of keep moving and having fun and kind of doing, specifically in the off season with football, like doing the things that I don't want to say missing out on, but because I love football so much, but doing the things that you can't do during the season.
That's great. Well, we want
to
thank
try
you.
to get to know you a little bit better. If there was one person, a famous person that you can meet, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Always a tough question.
I know. I've never been like.
I feel like it would have to almost be a current
person.
I'm trying to think.
Maybe an athlete or.
Yeah, there's just so many awesome people.
Yeah.
The list starts, and I was like, okay, but then I want 3 more. Maybe Cheryl Miller.
Oh yeah.
Maybe like an OG basketball player. I think that's maybe where I'd go with it.
To be honest, I don't know. I thought about Michael Jordan. I mean, there's a lot of people that have grown sports as a whole, which are pretty awesome. But one specific person, I'm not really sure. I've never been like a huge like idoler or anything like that.
No Taylor Swift.
Good human.
Yes.
She's good on the stage for me.
She can say right there.
I mean, there's so many women right now who are growing the sport, specifically like in the WNBA and stuff like that, who I think would be awesome to hear from and how they did that. And I mean, I think that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah.
Well, I know growing up, there wasn't that many female athletes. So I'm probably aging myself, but Dorothy Hamill, Nadia Comaneci, those were some names that, that we would kind of look up to because there wasn't a lot of women in sports. And so from where I've been and where I am now, it is tremendous, the growth of females in sports and in all positions, not just athletes, like coaches, owners, referees, things like that. So I'm really proud of where we're going. We have some more growth to go, but I'm proud to be on this journey.
I have to say, mine is the Iowa Hawkeyes basketball coach last year. I do like her a lot.
Bruder? Yeah. Love it. Anyone on that team. Anyone on that team. Yeah.
Well, I'm from Iowa, so I'm partial to Iowa Hawkeyes anyway. I want to thank you both so much for your time, for coming on. Is there anything that you both want to say leading up to tryouts or anything like that? And tell us where everyone can find you also.
Yeah, so first of all, to find us, mnvixen.com. That's our website.
Social media. It's
on Facebook, Instagram, whatever social you use. Yeah, it's there. The biggest thing for me is just give it a shot. Like, I feel that with any sport, and for a lot of women that maybe didn't play football growing up, like whether it's football or a different sport, honestly, it doesn't matter to me. Like, give yourself a shot as something as an adult or even as a kid, but you never know who you might find along the way or what you might discover about yourself. So I always tell people in Minnesota of like, just come to a tryout. If you don't make the team, oh well. And if you do make the team, then you can make a decision afterwards. Like, just give yourself a chance, feel the vibe, be in the environment, meet some of the people on the team. I think we have a really great community around the team, and it's just fun to even be at tryouts. Like, just the energy there is really amazing. So give yourself a chance, come out to tryouts, whether it's in Minnesota or if you're in a different city. We want to grow the game regardless of which team you join, or become a part of as a community member or as a fan. And then the other part is also like, thanks for having us on this show. Thanks for reaching out. And thanks for spreading the word of women's sports. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. I think one of the last things I'll add to Connor's, like, don't be afraid to try out. Don't be afraid of getting tackled. I know that's the biggest thing people say, like, I don't want to get tackled or I don't know how to tackle. One of the awesome things about our team is we have so many coaches, as do other teams as well. I just don't know them as much, obviously. But we'll teach you all that. We'll teach you how to get tackled and how to tackle. So, yeah.
I love it. I probably wouldn't like getting tackled, but I could tackle somebody all day. Okay. I have to say that.
We need people on both sides of the ball. We need people everywhere, so we can find a spot for you.
Well, thank you both so much for coming on, and I look
Thank
forward to
you.
going to Minnesota and going to a game and checking y'all out. I really appreciate it.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Come
on
up.
out.
Of course. Thank you
you so
so
much.
much.
Thank you,
All right,
guys.
see ya.
Bye. They're so great.
Oh my
Aren't they
God, these
great?
interviews are so much fun.
I know. I wanted to show these pictures too. Look at so cute. This one's at the Ravens. Love it.
Nice.
Coaching. Oh my gosh. Look at that insaneness right there. Look at that. That is
I
so
couldn't do
cool.
that.
I know. And we will have these posted to everyone on our site so you can check all this out. This is really great information. Again, go see, look at this stiff arming and
The
stuff.
website is great.
Oh my.
Merchandise is excellent.
Yes. The merchandise is great. They're great. And to all the women out there, seriously, take a chance on yourself. You all deserve to do this. You know, we have so much anger, frustration. What better way to get it out
That's true.
than to play the game of football, right? Just saying.
Do it.
Yeah. I don't know. That's just my opinion. And the fact that the coach is a Viking fan, hello. Love it already. But RC, I did want to bring something up for you before we go. I saw that Kirkland is coming back to the Brahmas.
Yes.
How do we feel about that?
You know, I'm a true believer that consistency is important, right? And so if you try to start a whole new team with all new players, it sounds like a good idea, but you need some of that consistency. So I'm very happy with that. I think we need some veterans. We need some new people. I'm still wondering what's going on with Kingland. Trey. I don't know if he's ever heard anything back from the UFL.
I don't know, but we should touch base with him and bring him on again.
Yes.
And also, don't forget, everyone, season tickets do go on sale soon. October 15th, go to ufl.com/tickets to get them. We're really looking forward to it. And the fact that they're bringing games to Friday nights, how do you feel about that, RC?
I love it. That's a tradition here in Texas. So I'm excited about it. I know that, for some people, Saturday's better, but I just don't like Sundays. Sundays is good, but to be honest, we had a bad schedule, right? The Sundays that we did have, the games, they were like Easter Sunday, things, Mother's Day. And so that's where I think the Friday night games are really going to see increase in attendance. So that's what I'm hoping. They're trying new things, right? You have to change and adjust. This is a new league. We're trying out new things. Let's support, right? Let's see how it works, and then we'll be a judge at the end of the season, not in the beginning.
Well, and shout out to Edward Jones Dome also for having Monster Jam come to St. Louis. I don't know whose idea or whose dates those were, but shout out to them for making it January 18th and 19th so we're not sitting in dirty seats. Appreciate you.
Okay.
Because that was a little dirty. So that's changed, which is great. And we have a new turf in St. Louis, which is great.
That's exciting.
We won't be looking like we're playing in the Olympic swimming pool this year.
There you go.
We'll look like we're playing on the turf. And all football games will be shown on ABC, ESPN, and Fox. So
that's huge too. It really is. Marketing, I think they lacked the first 2 years. And exposure. So I think this is really going to be good for the league.
Yeah, very good for the league. And I'm really excited already too for the games.
I'm excited for tailgating.
I'm excited for what other announcements, other things to come that will be coming up with the UFL, which is really exciting. But I must say, I am so blessed to be a part of this all-women show and to have platforms like Fuel Sports to be on to be able to allow us to do things like this with having quarterbacks and coaches on for an all women's football team. I really, really appreciate, shout out to Laura with the Minnesota Vixens as well for all of your help with having them come on tonight. We really appreciate it. And with that being said, RC, I think this is a wrap.
Mwah.
So with that being said, everyone, tune in next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Time right here on Fuel Sports Network for the A-Team with RC Woods. We will check y'all next week.
Keep watching that football.
Yes. And check out those dates and go to Minnesota Vixen's page also for tryouts for you to be able to fill out the register information online as well. And we will have that
and
posted
register to
also.
vote.
Yes, and register to vote. On that note, everybody, this is A-Team with RC. We are out.
Peace.